Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 12th day of December, 2022. So a 12-12 day, that's kind of cool. I like those repeating numbers. They always feel to me like there's like an opening there when you get a repeating number. It's like, well, you got to think about it. It gives you pause. And so what does it open you to in a way? Some people say it's portals. I don't know. I don't know about that. But maybe. I'm not going to say it's not. But even if it's a portal to new understanding, well, why not? Well, as I told you guys, I changed, and if you've seen this week's esoteric forecast, you've seen this a little different. I've combined the two that I was doing together and left some stuff out. I removed the ascendant stuff and the node stuff, but I'll include it in the daily if it's appropriate. If there's a good, strong transit from a particular planet to one of those, I'll include that in the interpretation for that part of it. But I've got it broken down into two things. One is the general one for the planetary governor of the particular day. Today, on Monday the 12th, the moon governs, and so it's about the moon, and it'll be for the whole week. And then I give some specific influences again that includes the runes I've drawn and the day, the numerology for the day itself, as well as the strongest ray influence. And there's a little paragraph on cosmic rays. They're the rays of creation, basically, and they're still coming through. It's a constant thing. Creation is a constant thing. And so the 7 cosmic rays come through, and they're colored, and they provide and they provide color, really, to our lives and to our perceptions. We have 5th ray today as the strongest ray influence, and so you're looking at concrete knowledge and science, and how that influences our awareness and the decisions we make and the interactions we have and all of that. Thursdays, for example, will be both the 2nd and 6th will be the strongest, and so we'll talk about that then. But it just, whatever they are tends to influence us in a way that maybe we don't understand, influences our focus, our attention. So anyway, let's take a look at, before we get into the reading, let's take a look at the moon's influences over the week. During the first part of the week, a relationship with a spouse or close partner becomes important. You're focused on how synchronicity plays a role in your relationships with others. And although you're great at bringing people together, there could be drama or conflict during this time, specifically with the women in your life. In fact, it may be best if conflict does occur to step back to gain an overall understanding so that you can consider a new perspective or solution. There could be past experiences that enable you to share relevant insights or that offer a way to manage your own needs with those of others. As the week progresses, interactions with others improve and you're able to rely on them for emotional support. The end of the week, a trine with retrograding Mars increases your self-confidence so that you can rise to challenges and seek out new opportunities. And then the specific influences for today, the 12th. Monday's 3 numerology, 12 reduces to 3, suggests your mental acuity is strong and you seek creative solutions to challenges that arise. Both Rado and Populus indicate integration or collaboration with others, which could be helpful should conflict or disagreements occur. And the strong 5th ray influence indicates that you're focused on truth and knowledge as a basis for your perspective. That said, it may become necessary to regroup so that you have the energy to collaborate on new solutions. So now tomorrow, Tuesday, is governed by Mars. Check that out. It's all in one post there on the blog. Wednesday's governed by Mercury. Sunday, of course, is the Sun. Thursday again is Jupiter. Friday's Venus, and Saturday is Saturn. So those are going to be the planetary focuses for each day. I kind of like doing that. Just to, I don't know. I mean, to me, it feels a little more natural than trying to look at everything at once for one day. And so see what you think about it. It's over there on the blog at imsteppingaside.com. The blog's called Stepping Aside, and I hope you'll check it out. So let's go ahead and take a look at today's rune from the Elder Futhark and get that going here, and then we'll throw down the 4 elemental runes for geomancy and see what we come up with there. And well, we have Laguz. Laguz is all about flow. It's a water element rune. And it really is about flowing in spirit. Now, if you're empathic, you can look at, and you're doing like a ritual for, or a meditation to draw back your energies to you, they call it cutting cords. I don't know. I call it dissolving energetic channels. I think the idea of cutting cords is really, I don't know, it's abrupt. I mean, if you have to, you have to. You know, if you got an energy vampire coming in on you or something, you know, you need to shield, and you need to, you know, if you haven't done that already. If you pick up energies, if you find yourself really exhausted after coming out of a big box store or any place where there's a lot of people, you're picking up stuff, and it's clinging to you. Auras, overlap. As you move about, you go next to somebody, your aura is interacting with theirs. You may not be aware of it, but if suddenly you start to feel sad for no reason, you could have interacted with somebody energetically who's feeling sad at that moment about something. And you're just picking it up and you're adopting it. So you may discover that you're empathic when maybe you didn't realize that. Everyone is, to a degree. Some of us are just more so than others, and it can be very draining to go to grocery stores and events and things like that. And so sometimes people that are too empathic, they just don't. I mean, they pick their times when there's fewer people, and it's just easier on them. But with Laguz, you can be viewed as a magical hook to, once you dissolve those channels, you can visualize the shape of Laguz and use it to pull what's left of your own energy back to you. We seek this stuff out for the most part by turning our attention to one thing or another, an idea, a memory, something going on television, or we see on social media or whatever. We start thinking about it, and then there goes a channel you've connected yourself to that with your thought processes, and so they're thought channels basically. And at times you just have to let them go, and so I'd prefer just to see them dissolve. And Laguz is because I can always think about them again. It's not going to stop me from doing that. I could create another channel instantly with whatever it is. Anyone can, but sometimes you just got to do a cleansing ritual where you let that stuff dissolve and come back to your own center, your own alignment, your own higher self, your own soul, and just live there for a little bit and allow things to just settle in and be just you. And so again, Laguz is very good for that. But other than that, you're looking at flow and how we flow in relationship to other people and other experiences. It can be about change, and there can be a little momentum associated with it. But generally speaking, just think of it in terms of we need to be flowing easily today in spirit. So let's see what we have here. I will put them in order. Oh, well, okay. I have Albus, which is wisdom. It's the divine. That Rubius is its opposite, where it's passion run amok. But or maybe somebody who is misuse of force or control or what have you. But this is Albus. And so not only are we going to be flowing in spirit, but with this wisdom here, it's really talking about that higher wisdom. So, think the Hermit. That's from tarot. That's maybe we'll draw the Hermit today. That might be one way to look at it, that you kind of retreat into your own higher self and find your wisdom there, find your clarity there. That's another thing with with Albus. And if you're talking Laguz, given that it's a water element rune, you could be looking at emotional clarity. So maybe things have not been real clear for you of late, and you need to sort of go inward and step back and see just exactly where is that coming from? Where am I getting emotionally stuck? How should I really be seeing this situation and this whole picture? Let's see. Oh, well, how about that? So I shuffled before I shuffled, I don't know. I don't know what to say. But we've got, and I talked about both the Albus and Rubius. And so we have, the Hermit and the Devil. So that's kind of interesting. But we're going to begin with standing our ground. This is the card. This is the Seven of Wands. You see a guy standing up on a hill or some kind of, he's higher up than everybody else. You see all these other wands coming in, all these other staffs coming in on him. And he's holding his staff in a defensive posture. Although, we used to teach Ed Parker's Kempo, and we had a school, and my husband and I did. And we would never stand this way. That's exposing, that's exposing the groin area, and you don't do that. So we would have maybe one leg, a stance like this where one leg's forward, one leg's a little bit back, but we would never stand, wide open stance like that. You're not really protecting anything there like he thinks he is. It's not a position of strength. Someone can actually, when you're standing like that, someone can actually push you over. So, if you don't see that coming, so you're really not in a good stance there in terms of martial arts. But in any event, for the purposes of tarot, though, we're looking at a guy who's standing his ground, and realistically, when you're talking about the sword, you're talking the fire element, so you're talking about creativity, ideas, new opportunities. It's that creative spark, the spark of life, and so we don't know for certain what he's protecting and defending, but it's something extremely important to him. He's getting up above everything, as you can see with him standing above there, and he's taking a look at what's coming in on him, and he's protecting what he's built, basically. So then you have to ask yourself, what does the Hermit and the Devil have to do? Again, if you're looking at let's talk about this from a different angle for a minute. We'll talk about the seven's about observation, by the way, and spirituality and magic and legal issues and coming to balance, think the scales and letting them come to rest. But what is he protecting? Ill-dignified, he could be protecting something he shouldn't be protecting, okay? Maybe it's arrogance, maybe it's ego. Sometimes when fire runs amok, you can have, that's with the opposite of Albus, which is Rubius. We'll turn it upside down here. That'd be Rubius. That would be the ill-dignified side of fire. But the idea of Albus and the Hermit, again, just like he's going up above, right, to be able to see what's coming in on him. And again, I'm not saying that it's either positive or negative here. Just to think about it from different angles to kind of understand the flow or the laguz of the information here. Here we have the ninth card of the major arcana, the Hermit. We see a hooded and cloaked man, old man, holding a staff. He's up on a snowy mountain peak, if you will, or a precipice. He's holding his lantern. There's a lighted Merkaba within it. So he's gaining information from his soul. This is going into higher awareness. It's retreat. It's achieving silent counsel. But where is that coming from? Again, that's coming from your soul. You can talk about your, we talk about guides and we talk about all of this, but in all likelihood, the guides was just your higher self coming in and assuming some kind of personification, if you will, because that's unfortunately how humans see things. We see things in very concrete terms. And so we personify everything. We, if something is a thought to be a god or a goddess or whatever, we want to make that into a person so that we can relate to it. We can't relate energetically or from a soul perspective as a rule, unless you practice that or it just comes naturally to you. But for most people, when you incarnate, you forget about all of that so you can get on with things, right? Well, I don't think that we should have ever done that. I think that we should have remained these souls in these body vehicles and should have always known that. And I think that our experiences may have been a little more meaningful than what they are. Instead, they become really reactive and people feel justified, and the ego comes in, and pretty soon you forget that everyone's one, and I don't know. So you can see where the dichotomy gets bigger and bigger, the continuum gets bigger and bigger, and you end up really at one end or the other instead of understanding the flow that goes between. There are just two sides of the same coin, basically. But we've forgotten the spirit side, and I think that what the guy in the 7 needs to be aware of when he's defending his ground is, what is it based in? Is it based on, is he having to defend himself from people that are coming after him because he's done something bad to them? We don't know that. See, that's why I'm saying we want to look at both sides of the whole thing here. He could be defending himself realistically, or maybe he did something to these people and they're coming after him, and to make him come to account for what he did. And it's just not something that we know. Generally, it's interpreted, though, as standing one's own ground, which is usually a positive thing. But if it's not, it seems to me that these are both ends of that spectrum. Are you given to spirit here? Are you taking the higher counsel? Are you getting a broader perspective of things? You get up high, you look down, you can see the whole picture there. Whereas you're on the ground, you have no idea what 100 feet away, maybe, depending on where you are, what it looks like. And so you as the hermit, you're going to retreat, you're going to withdraw, you're going to gain a higher perspective, typically from spirit, but in a sense you can also see this as seeing the bigger picture. So if this is a negative thing where they're after him for a good reason, he needs to go within and decide, okay, what am I doing to have this constantly happen to me? Am I always argumentative? It is the fire element, so am I always argumentative? Am I always pushing my own opinions at the expense of other people? Or are my ideas just so good, people are coming after me and they want to adopt them as their own, maybe? So it just depends on what the reality is of this 7 of wands is for anybody who's listening to the reading. Because I really think it's kind of one or the other here, especially with both the hermit and the devil. Now, the devil is, who are you going to be a slave to? And in this case, it's a slave to desire. So what did he do? Did he go and steal someone's ideas? Is he trying to call something that doesn't belong to him his own, and people are coming after him? Did he do something that affected these people in a really negative way? Or is this just a matter of jealousy where they're coming after him because he's doing so much better and they want what he has? So again, kind of a different way to look at this, but I think that the hermit and the devil is kind of defining it that way, one end of the spectrum versus the other. But here you have the depiction of Adam and Eve, if you will, little if you want to look at it that way, male or female. You're looking at the as above, so below stance from the devil, although instead of with the magician where he's got the scroll in this hand up to spirit, he's got the lighted torch focused down into form. You also see the inverted pentagram up here. You see the goat-like head, the wings, the bat wings, if you will. And he's perched, you can see his claws right here. He's perched on this post that's got the ring, and there's a chain that's going around each individual's neck. Now, if you can be a slave to desire, basically, a slave to form, and so focused on that, so focused on the ego that you can't see beyond the nose of your face. It's all that drives you. And but you could even look at the hermit as service to others, and the devil as service to self, if you want to see that type of see it in that type of a organization or flow or dichotomy or continuum of experience. And so again, if you feel like things are coming in at you, why is that happening? It has to be addressed. You have to go within. You have to figure out, why is this happening? Is it because of my own behavior that's caused harm to other people or conflict? Or is it just simply that, you know what, I've achieved some things here and now people are mad at me about it, or they want what I have, or what have you. I'm defending my home. I'm defending my turf. I'm defending my legacy. I'm defending something that I've built, It could be that if you're a business person, these could be your competitors, for example. And so you have a good thing going in your business. Maybe you've carved out this little niche for yourself, and you've learned that you have to develop a different kind of relationship with your customers where they can trust you, for example, where you speak to them with honesty and integrity and dignity, versus, being clearly in it for yourself and doing whatever it takes to make a buck. So you can see the dichotomy here. But we have to be reminded that the runes for today, the significators are Lagus and Albus. And so we're basically flowing in higher awareness. So the answer here, if you're somebody who's maybe making a quick buck, from the service to self side of things, if we're going to use the businessman analogy here, maybe you need to rethink that and retreat and really evaluate what it is that you're doing. Are you letting spirit flow through your lives? Are you letting that higher awareness flow through your life? Or are you just taking the easy way out and making a quick buck and move on? It's the difference between building a customer base where people return to you, and someone that just doesn't really care. It's like, oh yeah, whatever, and take the money and run. And odds are, people make a lot of money that way. Businesses last that way, depending on what they are, but they're dependent on a flow of people coming in that aren't necessarily the same ones that come back, once a week or once a month or what have you. So again, what are you defending? If you're feeling like you're having to defend your ground today, be sure that that's something that is something that's based on integrity and flowing in spirit, and full clarity, and be sure that you can see the overall picture. Both, that's found, I think, in that idea, that concept is found in both cards, getting above it all and seeing the overall picture to truly understand, what's my real role here? What role am I playing? What choices am I making? Is it something that's going to result in something positive? And again, it could just be that this is a business situation, where you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, and these are your competitors. Or this could be something at work, for example, where you're coming up with an idea that others may want to co-opt. And it's so good that you need to defend it because it's yours. I've seen that happen many, many times, where people do come up with a good idea, and before you can say anything to the boss, oh boy, so you've said it to someone else, and they're in the boss's office and making it their own. Well, that's not fair, right? And so that could be another interpretation of what's happening here, where you have to defend your own ideas and your own creative output, so that others know that that comes from you, that it's not coming from someone else who just, rode on your coattails to get there, right? And so it just depends on how you're looking at this. What you don't want to do is you want to stay elevated. You want to stay in higher awareness and not devolve into the egoic nature that can keep you a slave to something that is never going to be based in honor. It's not a soul perspective. It's an ego-based perspective that, you might be really successful, but again, at the end of the day, what do you have when everybody hates you? We see that happening on one of the social media platforms right now, where the new owner is not being well received by a lot of people. And some people I've kept my account, but I just kind of lurk a bit now. I don't really, I just see what's going on. I'm elsewhere. I'm other places. I'm on Post, and I'm Wise Woman on Post, and Wise Woman on Mastodon, and Wise Woman on Counter Social. And so I like other people, I've left, and I spend most of my time there, although I do check in on Twitter to see what's going on, but I'm also stepping aside as a Facebook page too. I'm not there very much though, but I don't know. You take a look at, just to stand back and watch the flow of things, how it's changed, and it seems to be in a very negative way, at least in my opinion. And so you'll see, again, he may defend his ground, but what has he done to the ground to defend, right? I mean, but for some folks, that might be their cup of tea. Not really mine, but whatever. I don't have to be there. No one has to be there. It's not required, right? It was just a fun place to be while it lasted, I guess. Not so much now. But it's interesting to watch what's unfolding and what people are saying about it, and the kinds of things from the new owner. It's just interesting to see what's being said, and it kind of opens your eyes, really. You get an idea of who somebody is, and or maybe you don't, but maybe you don't care. I really didn't care, but you get an idea of, bits and pieces about somebody that you hear about, and then you discover something totally else is going on. It's like, oh, wow, okay, interesting there. But again, I think that for today's reading, exploring the spirit versus ego continuum within is a valuable thing to do, especially if you are on the defense about something, or you're standing your ground about something. It may be the most appropriate thing for you to do, but sometimes we stand our ground when we need to drop resistance and see the other side of something, to gain a different perspective. And maybe we're so caught up in our own belief system that we can't explore the thought that maybe we're wrong about something. Our beliefs we hold on to our beliefs so strongly that sometimes it's very difficult to let that go. And so it could be something like that that's coming into play today. But if you remember to flow in higher awareness, flow in spirit, and try to get above it all and step back from the moment of it all and meditate a little bit and ask yourself, is this really standing my ground, or being resistant to a new idea, or something like that, is it the most appropriate use of my time? Is this really what I should be doing? Or do I need to maybe consider something else? I mean, it could be that, this guy's just defending his own ideas, and there's all these others that are like, no, these are more important. And so, being able to just step back out of your own headspace for a moment and take a look at that and consider something else could also be valuable. Now, again, though, if it's something where it's a business and you're defending your own turf, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And to get above it all, to be sure of what the competition is doing, if they're trying to undermine you, if they're trying to slander you in some way or something like that, and slander your business, then maybe a trip to the lawyer's office is what's in your future. But to see what you can do, reputation is hard to build. It goes away just like that. And so it could be that in the Seven of Wands, maybe that's what's going on. So I'm not trying to define this in one way or the other here. I think that there's enough of a plethora of things really that could be going on here. But be sure that with the specific influences for today from the blog, about your mental acuity being strong, and you seek creative solutions to challenges that arise. Talking about integration or collaboration with others might be necessary. Being focused on truth and knowledge as a basis for your perspective, and then maybe regrouping, so you can have the energy to collaborate on new solutions. That could all integrate with the reading here today, and give you maybe a little more direction, or define it a little more for you. But again, whatever is happening for you that resonates with this card, the Seven of Wands, however that's playing out for you, getting above it all with the Hermit, and evaluating how ego is coming into play. Maybe it's not for you, but maybe it is for others. Maybe you could just see something as, well, this is my thing, I need to defend it, and it's really people's egos that are really the problem, and that could be the absolute truth of this. And so, but again, living in that higher awareness for a bit, to try to evaluate things where you don't get emotion involved, you don't get your own mental thing going on, where you've convinced yourself of one belief or another, just to let go of all of it and flow in spirit for a little while, and see where that takes you in terms of your own understanding of what's going on today. So that would be my suggestion for today. And so I guess that's it. I don't know how much snow is out there. There could be 10 inches. There could be a foot. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get out of here today. I was going to take a package up to UPS, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that today. I don't think we have any more snow coming, or at least nothing that's significant, unless the weather changes. But it's going to be super cold for the next week. So this stuff, whatever, we're supposed to get up to 37 today, and it's supposed to be sunny. And so there's going to be a lot of melting, preliminary melting. But how much that means for my 800-foot driveway, I don't know. And I have a Camry, so I'm low to the ground. So I think that we'll see what happens, though. I may be able to get out and do that. Otherwise, I might have to do it tomorrow. My husband might have to get out the snowblower. But hopefully, just down here by the house, so maybe about, 250 feet maybe, you might have to do, as opposed to 800. I would suspect the outer driveway area, the bigger part of it, the sun will hit today and melt a lot of it. And so I should be able to drive out without any problems. But we'll see, Sometimes, before we bought that snowblower, one winter a few years back, he he had to do the driveway 3 times, and I mean, we couldn't get out. We had 2 foot of snow, and then that was, and then we bought a snowblower during that time, and it didn't snow anymore, and so he didn't get to use it that year. But each year, see, we have a gravel driveway, so years ago you couldn't use a snowblower on that, but now it's like a, what do they call it, a 2-stage or something? I don't know, but it filters all that stuff out. It doesn't, the rocks don't destroy the thing. And so we're able to, he's able to do it. I mean, it takes a little while, but it's easier than doing his shovel. So, and his birthday was Saturday. He's 69, so he doesn't need to be doing anything. He's threatening to go up on the roof just in case it doesn't melt enough, and I'm like, no, and but he's going, and I don't know what to do. So I don't know, bubble of protection around him. I don't know. He's a monkey. He grew up that way. He lived in trees. He fell out of a tree. I don't know. You think he would have learned then, but oh no. Nope. He does things that, it's like he doesn't have fear, and I don't know. That's neither, I don't know, that can be a bad thing. So that's my mindset for the next few days, is worrying about him and what he's going to do outside when I don't see him. And if you have a husband like that, well, then you know what I'm talking about, don't you? So I don't know. Should we have like a 12-step program? Maybe we start. Maybe so. I don't know. That's it, though. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that. Give it a like if you want to do that too. That'd be cool. And come back on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be